to infinity and beyond.
Everybody, it's Roger and James here from Infinity and Beyond podcast presented by DisKingdom.com and DisGaming.com. In this episode, as we kind of will be waiting off to talk about some of the E3 stuff from the second half of the week on next week's show, we thought we would just kind of delve into what we've been playing. I'm going to kind of kick off and say, unfortunately, I've moved house the last 2 weeks, and unfortunately that meant that they turned off my internet, and due to a problem with the current property, it got delayed, and I'm hoping by the time that this episode goes up, I will actually have internet, because it's completely messed up my plans of what I was supposed to be playing. You know, I wanted to play the Telltale episode 2 of Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm hoping by the time this episode goes out that I am actually playing Cars 3, because I'm going to have to download that because that's a month delay for here, and I'm hoping to kind of play that one. I might even be resorted to bringing my PlayStation to work if it doesn't come just to do some upgrades, just to download some games. I'm going to be honest, moving house and being restricted to having no internet has taken me back to an era of video gaming where life was simpler, where you just brought a cartridge and you popped it in and it works. And actually then it suddenly realized that when you do not have the internet or you have really bad slow connection, you suddenly realize this world of DOC and digital downloads sucks when your internet doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, this is, of course, the curse of the modern age. Back when the Xbox One was first announced and Microsoft was like, yeah, you're going to have to connect to the internet every single day to keep your licenses, and then it's like every week, and people was like, yeah, that doesn't always work.
No, it's very much that kind of situation of maybe if you live in a massive big city with high-speed internet, that sounds fantastic, but when there's so many owners that are not able to do that or don't have the high-speed internet, there's this kind of thing of like only over the weekend I saw Star Wars Battlefront uploaded an image of the download speeds for his hotel for E3. And he's like going, oh, not very good here, is it? And then like the comments on the things, people going, I don't even get it at home. Why are you moaning? Because he's got so used to having high-speed internet at home. It's that thing of like, it feels really bad, but for some people, it's still great. So being disconnected has caused me issues of not being able to get updates on some games I want to be playing. There's some stuff that, I literally downloaded, I think like, it's like even the Xbox, not being able to play Xbox One 360 backwards compatible games because it needs to check the internet to make sure it's like, oh. So now I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn and Sonic the Hedgehog on the Genesis. That's
I mean, that DRM on the Genesis is brutal.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you were able to get that working.
Yeah. I did actually, because I picked up a Retron 5 for my birthday. So I got given some money from my parents and for my in-laws and stuff like that. I thought, what can I spend on? Shall I spend it on a PlayStation 4 Pro? No, I buy a console that I can play Nintendo because I realized that my Super Trio would not work with my new 4K television very well. It didn't have the right connection, so I picked up a Retron instead, and I decided to pick up a few extra cartridges. So literally, my mum and dad's face when I pulled out the Sonic the Hedgehog cartridge out of the packet from eBay, they literally just shook their head and they were like, "That's," because they just remember me as a kid. That intro music from the beginning that drove into their brains because you were always playing the same first level with the music on. With, I'm sure it gives my parents nightmares from Super Mario and that era where you just played those early levels. That Sonic, Dad just looked at it and went, "That looks really old." It's like, yeah, it is. It's looking a bit faded, but. You just go like a proper cartridge that you put in, and it's like in a week where I've had no internet, it's like it works.
Yeah, I think my parents probably will get PTSD shock if they listen to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme song, the original one from the 90s. That is. I know I do. I loved it back then. I tried to watch it recently, and it was a very painful experience. But yeah, we're not here to talk about the Turtles. We're here to talk about games. And this past week, I've been playing well, actually, past several weeks, I've been playing Injustice 2 quite a bit. I've been going through the multiverse a lot there. I've been playing Marvel Heroes, and now I know that the PlayStation 4 version just launched, or is at least in open beta, but I've been playing the PC version because they're in the middle of their anniversary right now, and they've got a bunch of login bonuses. I was able to get the Cosmo pet. That's the telekinetic dog from Guardians of the Galaxy 1. And then, interestingly enough, I've been playing some Uncharted 2. So a little retro myself as well, but not nearly to the Genesis era of retro. And then lastly, at work, I've been bringing my 3DS to play at lunch, and I've been playing the most recent Fire Emblem game, which is itself a remake of, I believe, a Nintendo era.
Oh, right.
So going a little retro.
Yeah.
But
It's
mixing it in with some Injustice too.
It's like you're saying, like the interesting thing of like the 3DS of, you know, I've been like listening. I've been downloading when I've been coming to work. I've been downloading podcasts onto my phone, you know, and like so many people are like, you know, the new 3DS games come out, and they're just like, I don't really want to leave the Switch. Just like going back from the Switch to the 3DS is a lot of people are just like, I just can't do it anymore. It's just not quite working. But so that issue, I mean, I think this week, I'll be honest as well, I've been playing a lot of Horizon Zero Dawn, 2 to 3 hours a night. I've really been stomping through that because it's almost that weird thing of like, because I've had no internet, it's like my wife would go to bed and it's like, I've got 2-3 hours and it's like, I literally have just been sat back and watch and just playing the game because of, and so I've really been, it's this really odd one, and I'm going to be honest, I've been playing it and I'm like, I'm enjoying it, but Zelda kicked its butt. It's like every time I get to a wall and I can't jump over it, or there's a big rock, and and it's like I'm being attacked. I'm like, I just want to climb to the top and I can hide. And you're like, Zelda did it. And it's that line of it, like, I think that thing of climbing up the long necks to open up the map. And it's just sitting there going, Zelda did this so much better. And Horizon Zero Dawn, if it had been any other time without Zelda, that game would be, I could see it being, you know, game of the year, but Zelda just did it better.
Yeah, and obviously I have not played Breath of the Wild, so I can't compare it. And I enjoyed Horizon very much, but as is true with most open world games for me, I lost interest about halfway through. There gets a point, you get to the second major city, you know, it's more civilized than where you've been before, and I opened up the map and it was just filled, like coated in waypoints. Oh, there's an item here, there's an item there, there's upgrades here, there's things you need to check out here. And I was just like, I'm done. This is too much. I'm not dealing with this nonsense. So I put it down. I think the only open world game I've been able to really kind of get into in the past 4 years, maybe more, is Shadow of Mordor. That's the only open world game I've actually gotten like invested enough to finish. But even Horizon Zero Dawn, I was just like, nah, I'm done. I can't finish this game.
I really love open world games. It's actually quite funny. If I look at my history of gaming, I am very much swayed in that direction. I enjoy them. I'm not a multi-collector. You know, I don't need to go collect every single Korok seed. I don't need to go collect all the feathers. You know, upgrading a character, I only upgrade them to whatever I need to. I don't worry too much about it. The main story is all I'm interested in. I always find like the towers or the long necks or whatever it is, opening up the map gives me that little bit of like, it's open. But, oh, look at all that stuff I don't need to bother about. So I see a long neck. That was the last thing I did last night, was get one of the long necks, because I almost like think when it's covered in cloud, it annoys me. I need to sort of open it up so I can see it properly. But I am literally just going to plow through the main story. I've done a couple of the cauldrons and then quickly realised I'm never actually going to be able to control any of these characters, because usually by that point I've been spotted or I've started attacking them. So that system's not really working for me. But there is that thing of, if I had the internet, I don't know if I could have very easily have slipped out of it and gone into Marvel Heroes. I am enjoying Horizon Zero Dawn, but I think off the hotbed of Zelda, where I invested 70, 80 hours, I'm finding it difficult to be. I'm not as enthralled as I probably would have been if I had not played Zelda.
Yeah, and I think, for me, I'm not the type of gamer who needs to get 100%. I'm not a collect-em-all gamer. My Pokemon games are normally just like my team of 6 Pokemon, and it's probably the same team for like 90% of the game. But there's that aspect of looking at that map and just seeing so much garbage like all over. It's just so overwhelming that I just don't even want to deal with it. And I will do some side stuff because a lot of the times you get special abilities or whatnot. But like what you're talking about with the cauldrons, where it's talking and saying, oh, well, now you can gain control of these creatures. I'm like, fantastic. Ooh, I never have used this ability once outside of a requirement in the story. And just like, you know what? If you can't be bothered to, streamline this and make it so it's not a freaking geocaching exercise on your map, I'm not interested in exploring this.
Yeah, so. I think I definitely the only game that I feel like didn't work for me was The Witcher 3, where I did actually get bored of it, and I did actually just stop. I probably got 20 hours in, and I'm just like, I don't care what this guy does. It's that thing of, I don't even remember what the story was, where I was going, what I'm doing. I'm getting all these side quests. I mean, I'm playing Horizon, and I'm like, I bump into someone. I've just lost my brother. Would you go help me? Yes, I will. What? Why? Why would you help this? It's like, I'm sitting there going, I don't care. It's not my problem. You go out and look for them.
And then you've got kind of like this Fallout syndrome problem too, where like Fallout 4, the main story is your kid is missing. I think that's the main story. It's been a while. Yeah. And then you spend 300 hours in the game doing anything but hunting for your kid, and you're like, oh yeah, my kid probably starved to death in a vault somewhere, but whatever. And that's I love and hate in open world games where it's just like, yeah, you know what, it's super important. That guy's going to starve to death or he's going to freeze to death, but only once you enter that cave. You'll have 20 minutes once you enter the cave. It's like, you can take as long as you want till then.
There was so many memes and images of, like, there was this great cartoon for Zelda, and it's like, sort of, it's like Zelda kind of going, come rescue me, and like Zelda's off, and Link's, climbing this, collecting that seed, doing this, and they go, no, sorry, I'm busy at the minute, I'll come back in about 200 hours. I'm, like, you do get completely just lost in, and I think like that game worked in the fact of it did encourage you because you never knew what was coming around the next corner. And I'll be honest, I'm finding with Horizon Zero Dawn that the enemies are getting bigger. They're getting bigger and badder. And I'm just going to run away. Or there's too many of them in an area. I'm literally going to run from one. I'm just going to sprint through the middle of it and hope that I can run through because I'm not powerful enough to take them on. Or I actually on more lines of, I could do, but I've not got the inclination to actually bother fighting you all, and I'm not powerful enough yet to. And I don't. That whole creeping around thing is like, it's not like Splinter Cell where that was the part of the game. It is good. I am enjoying it, but I am worried as well that if I put the game down and I go somewhere else, I might not return to it.
Yeah, I'd actually forgotten about how big the enemies get, and that was another factor in me putting it down. Was, at the beginning of the game, the enemies die in a handful of hits, and if you get them in the critical spot, they'll probably just die straight out. Once you get to that second area, every enemy you fight is a freaking bullet sponge, or in this case, an arrow sponge, and it's just like, that's not my kind of gameplay. And so that I really kind of fell out of the game at that point. Now, I will say this, though. Horizon Zero Dawn, I have yet to see a game that has a better photo mode. And
I've never used it.
And there's so many things in that game worth taking photos of, but, you have to be in a particular mindset to do it. You have to be like our friend Lem, who's... one of the Res TV guys, his Instagram and his Twitter feed is filled with these photos, and they're fantastic and they're beautiful. But if you're not going to be sitting there like going, "Ooh, that's a beautiful sunset," pause, adjust the filter, change your f-stop. I mean, if that's not what you're into, then it's whatever. I wish Injustice 2 had a photo mode, though. That game is freaking beautiful at times.
The thing is, for me with Injustice, was once I finished the main story of the game, I went off. I went to Horizon Zero Dawn. I literally was like, yay! I stopped Brainiac. Okay, next. I literally was just like, the whole online mode, all the other stuff is just, I do not want Superman. I do not want to change his outfit. Superman. I don't need any costumes. This is I don't care about changing how he looks. I don't care changing the colors. That's not interested to me. So Injustice was kind of one of those games of sit down, play for 5 hours over a couple of nights, and I've moved on. I've completed it, and I've moved on. And it's just like, yep, next.
But I think that's one of the strengths of Injustice 2 is you can really get in. You can really get out of it whatever you put into it. Do you want just a straight fighting game where you play through the story mode and then you're done? You can certainly do that. Do you want to have something that's kind of like a pseudo RPG experience? You can totally do that. Do you want an online game that's not particularly well balanced? You can do that. I hope you don't play Deadshot because I will hunt you down and hurt you because that's such a cheap character. But you know, it's there's many different ways to play Injustice 2, and I think that's one of the strengths of it.
I mean, I must admit, like having played Injustice 2, and obviously the ARMS weekend, because I've been toying with the concept of ARMS, and there's that part of me that going, I like fighting games. It's like the same thing with Super Street Fighter 2, and even I'm even very, very tempted to even maybe pick up the new Pokédex. Pokken or something like this.
Pokken?
Because I've not played that game before, and I'm there going, okay, so it's like Tekken with Pokemon? Okay, so, the reviews are good for it, and it's like, I do like fighting games, but I just literally like main stories and stuff, and I don't know, it's that odd thing of, I do like them, but I very much jump in, play a little bit, jump out.
Yeah.
And ARMS is that kind of game of like, I'd like the idea of it, but I'm wondering how little will I probably play it for a week and then not play it again. If Super Street Fighter 2 was half the price, I'd pick it up like that. But it's kind of fighting games. I like them and I enjoy them, but they don't thrill me the same way like an open world does.
So the thing about fighting games is they're much like real-time strategy games for me in that I love the genre, and a particularly good example of those games I can play for a very long time, but I'm never good at them. No. I am awful at them. Like I couldn't beat Halo Wars on the easiest difficulty, and that's like one of the easiest real-time strategy games ever produced. And I'm awful at fighting games. I've been playing Tekken 7 as well because I got a press copy, and I'm just like, cool. I'm just watching myself get beaten up a lot, but it's pretty. It's real pretty.
No, I think as well. I've got so many games that I've not played. I've still got to complete Uncharted 4. I've still got to complete Kingdom Hearts 2 and Before I Sleep and all that kind of stuff. But I'm very much finding myself in this thing of like, I want to play a game for a week or two and I want to move on. And I'm becoming quite kind of, spending too long in Zelda really did manage to keep my attention, but I just know, like, with Cars 3 and, I still want to jump back into Marvel Heroes and finish the main story off and, I kind of keep churning on with that. But, yeah, I definitely kind of feel this thing of, like, me wanting to play so many games, but never really kind of spending too long on them either.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because a lot of developers are moving in the opposite direction. They really want to create ecosystems where you will be playing this game for months, if not years, and will continue to update them, follow the mobile market strategy. And I'm with you on this. I'm kind of going, I'd rather just have a 6 to 10 hour experience and be done with it. I got my story. I got to feel like, a little pseudo god because I, destroyed thousands of my enemies and left their broken bodies in my wake. And now I'm moving on to the other game where I get to leave all my broken enemies in my wake.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, I think there's that kind of thing of like looking at the lineup for the summer and stuff, and just going right. It doesn't look like it's slowing any sign of slowing down. And also you get other stuff coming in, but yeah, I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn has definitely kind of got that thing for me where I've started to feel like, oh yeah, that exactly that kind of feeling of just being like, oh.
That wasn't planned.
No, I was like last night. It's like, well, I need to go to bed because I've got to get up early, and it's like I've just reached this camp, and I could take them on, but I could just go to bed. Or I think I found with Zelda, it was like, ooh, what's that? And I think I really did feel bad for Horizon Zero, and Horizon it launched that week before Zelda as well, and everyone's like, this game's amazing, and then Zelda came out, and everyone went, it's better, and it's just it's always like I've done it because I've gone backwards. It's not working, and it keeps coming back to this thing of like I need to climb that wall. I need a bit of climb because this is that really annoying thing of like I'm like jumping to get up to this stone to get there, and it's just like in Zelda I would have just been up that whole thing and I would have been done. And it's such you sort of feel like this is really good, but you just got picked by such an amazing game. And I was never a Zelda person, and so for me, remember before the Switch and I'm like, I don't really like Zelda, and now I'm just like, yeah, I'm in, and I'm probably going to end up picking up the DLC pack to get that extra challenges when they come out in the fall with the new with whatever they announce them, because Horizon Zero Dawn they could announce some new DLC. I don't think I'd bother.
I think that they are going to do DLC for Horizon. I think they may have announced the first pack already.
Yeah.
I've already traded in my copy, so obviously I won't get it. I might pick it up again someday in the future when it's $10 on the PlayStation Store during one of the Flash stores or something like that. But even without Zelda, I'm kind of done with the game. Which isn't to say it was a bad game. I enjoyed my time with it, but it just couldn't hold on.
No, it's that thing for me. If the internet doesn't kick in till the end of the week, my aim primarily is I want to blast through this main story the next 3-4 nights, try and get that main story done so I can push this game to the back, because I know once I jump off of it, I'm out. And there's that kind of thing as well of there is so much going on in video games. There's always something new and fresh. For me, again, like we're saying about the whole thing about a platform, it's very. If you are just interested in hour-to-hour mode for money, if you buy a game, some people might be like, well, if I got 4 or 5 hours out of Injustice, that's not value for money for me for a £35 game. It's like, I'd rather pay £35 for a game, enjoy it for 5 to 10 hours and get out and then enjoy the experience than have a 40-hour game which I've just been trudging through going, well, I've paid for it and I must enjoy it.
I have to get all the feathers in Assassin's Creed or else it's just not worth it. I certainly, when I was younger, like when the Xbox 360 was a brand new console, I remember playing the first Assassin's Creed and being like, I gotta get all the items, and eventually realizing, you know what, I'm not actually enjoying this. It's just a task that I set for myself. It's no different than going to work each week, and that was when I eventually was just like, you know what, if I'm not having fun doing this, then there's no point in me doing this, because gaming is completely optional.
Yeah.
Even for us, we do this podcast and we end up playing games that, maybe we wouldn't normally touch. At the end of the day, it's still optional. We could be like, all right, we're going to talk about Cars 3, and I'll be like, I just didn't bother getting Cars 3, and whatever. I mean, the only people who are going to hold us accountable for it is ourselves.
Yeah.
And
also, you do not have to finish every game you get. You do not, there is nothing wrong with walking away. Especially, I think, as become more adult gamers, where time is more important than actual money in some respects, because you've only got limited time gaming and you want to enjoy it, so you've got to jump in and out. And also, there's nothing wrong as well of playing a game for a bit and going, this isn't for me, I'm out, rather than going, I must trudge through this game because I've paid for it. Right. So you can trade it in and get some of your money back. I have kind of, having moved around all my games and find a big stack of PS4 games, it's like I've always traded games in, but at the same time I've always resented trading them in afterwards when, like, it's that thing of like, I know when I finish and just like some games, I just never return to them, and they just sit there on the shelf just collecting dust. And I could trade them in to fund new games, and I probably should, because I've got about a stack of about 20 PS4 games which I've not touched since I've sort of finished playing them, and I don't know if I'll ever go back to them.
And it's kind of funny because I'm not sure how well Game does with their trade-in values and stuff, but GameStop is atrocious for their values. It's often much better for you to sell it on eBay or Craigslist or something. But at the same time, as an adult, as a person, with limited available time thanks to having to do adult activities such as, work, sometimes getting the actual value out of a game that you could possibly get just isn't worth the time and effort for it. So, yeah, there's a couple of games. If it was a perfect world, I would have time to play these games and whatnot, but there's always something new right around the corner, and I'm more psyched for the games around the corner than for the ones that never quite made it off my shelf. So why bother wasting the shelf space? And you know what? I can get $5 credit for these games. I never even played them. I paid probably 30 or 40 for them, and I just have to eat that loss. And I just realize, and just not make the mistake again.
That's the only good thing I think sometimes with the digital ones, is because it's that weird thing of like looking at I was setting up some of the like shelves and stuff with some of the games I've got. I literally must have had about 40 PS2 games that I picked up the last year for doing some retro video stuff for this channel. And it's like, if I wasn't doing the channel, I wouldn't do it. And it's that thing of like and I realized as I was setting up all these games, going, okay, my PS3 section is not very big, and my Xbox, what 360 games, I've hardly got any. And then I'm like going, well, no, because I've bought so many of them digitally. And I really am just at that point where, the only reason I don't buy more digital pretty much is price, because Cars 3, for example, is going to be out this weekend. It's going to be priced at $60 online. Well, you're going to be able to get it cheaper physically. And there is that kind of thing of, like Battlefront 2, I'm going to be pre-ordering it. And I'm like, shall I just jump in and just pre-order the digital version, because I can then play it when I want? It's like the other day, I went to fire up a game, and I'm like, oh, damn. But then I haven't got enough space for it all. I'm thinking with Switch, I'm primarily going to keep physical because of cartridges. You've got a lot less space than you got on the PlayStation. There's that side of things. But I can definitely see the merits of a digital collection, having just moved.
Having the digital collection, it's very nice to be able to just carry the entire thing with you and say, I've got my Switch and I've got a library of 10, 15 games here, so whatever strikes my fancy, I can play it, no matter where I am. But personally, most games I buy physical copies of, because it'll be cheaper for me to just buy it physically. I've got a Best Buy very close to me. They have the Gamers Club. All physical copies of all games are 20% off to me, just right up front. That's part of the deal. So for me, I'll do that. And then if it turns out that there's a great digital deal somewhere down the pike, I'll just trade in my physical copy and get the digital game. But that way I only get digital copies of games that I know I will come back to at some point, and they're not just cluttering up my system. Or I'm getting them from, PlayStation Plus or Games with Gold, which is a different matter entirely.
It was typical, that thing with like Horizon Zero Dawn. My wife paid $40 for it. The following day it was announced on sale, and then the following day it's on PlayStation Plus for half the price. And it's like, I really could have it would have been so much easier just to have done that.
Yeah, and I think actually, as a matter of fact, it's like $31 or something right now on PlayStation. So if I really wanted to, if I wanted to finish the game, I could go and pick it up for $15 less than I paid for it in the stores back when it came out.
I've just realised that I've just fired up my YouTube subscriptions feed and just realised how much, obviously with E3, of like not being able to watch videos for a week. My feed is just, and everyone's just like, I haven't got time for everything.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Just don't even.
I've had a week off and it's like I got nowhere. But I think that's pretty much probably going to wrap up this episode of what we've been kind of doing. As I said, you can find us over at DisKingdom.com and at DisKingdom.com. You can also find James over at HeroicLegacy.com. As per usual, we're giving away cards free, driven to win, physical version depending on where you are. And on that note, guys, we shall see you guys soon. Laters.